Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's reading of Chapter 8 of The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Today is February the 8th, so it just makes sense that we would read Chapter 8 today. For those of you that have been following these readings, thank you. I appreciate your patience. I had some family matters over the last few weeks that required my attention. So I've needed to spend my energy over those matters. So it's been a couple weeks since I've connected with a chapter from the Mastery of Love. So I'm looking forward to reconnecting with all of you and sharing Chapter 8 with all of you tonight. So Chapter 8 is titled Sex, the Biggest Dream in Hell. Really interesting. So looking forward to getting into it. I wanted to, I'm just really comfortable right now. I put on the cashmere sweater because it's really soft. It's my favorite winter fabric. And I'm just really comfortable, and I want all of you to get comfortable right now. So just sit back, get really comfortable, or better yet, lay back if you're on the bed, whenever it is you're watching this reading. Hopefully you're watching at a time when you get a chance to really relax, where you can just listen to these words and just listen to my voice share and read this book of Chapter 8 with you. So I wanted to do something a little differently today, and I wanted to pull an affirmation card to take us into today's reading of Chapter 8. And it's really interesting. I share everything with you guys. So as I was shuffling the decks and I spoke with my guides and asked for an affirmation that would connect with the messages that we're talking about and sharing in Chapter 8 of today's reading. And as I had split the deck 3 times, I always pulled the bottom card, and before I even pulled the card over, I felt it within me, and sure enough, this energy came out. True love, come to me. I have no idea why I felt, well, it's my intuition, I guess. Intuitively knowing and feeling this energy coming about. So this energy is connected to Chapter 8 that we're reading tonight. It says, true love, come to me, as I do will, so mote it be. True love, come to me, as I do will, so mote it be. True love, come to me, as I do will, so mote it be. So we may be reading something about love tonight in the Mastery of Love. It's going to maybe help us, enlighten us to true love, which may open up the doors in our energies to receive true love into our life. So anyways, let's get started with Chapter 8 here. So Chapter 8 is titled Sex, the Biggest Demon in Hell. It says, if we could take humans out of the creation of the universe, we would see that the whole creation, the stars, the moon, the planets, the animals, everything is perfect just the way it is. Life doesn't need to be justified or judged without us. It keeps going the way it is. If you put humans in that creation, but take away the ability to judge, you will find we are exactly like the rest of nature. We are not good or bad or right or wrong. We are just the way we are. In the dream of the planet, we have the need to justify everything, to make everything good or bad or right or wrong, when it is just the way it is, period. Humans accumulate a lot of knowledge. We learn all those beliefs, morals, and rules from our family, from society, from religion. And we base most of our behavior, most of our feelings on that knowledge. We create angels and demons. And of course, sex becomes the biggest demon in hell. Sex is the biggest sin of the humans when the human body is made for sex. You are a biological sexual being, and that is just the way it is. Your body is so wise. All that intelligence is in the genes. In the DNA. The DNA doesn't need to understand or justify everything. It just knows. The problem is not with sex. The problem is the way we manipulate the knowledge and our judgments when there is really nothing to justify. It's so hard for the mind to surrender, to accept that it's just the way it is. We have a set of beliefs about what sex should be, about how relationships should be, and these beliefs are completely distorted. In hell, we pay a high price for a sexual encounter, but the instinct is so strong that we do it anyway. Then we have all that guilt, all that shame. We hear all that gossip about sex. Look at what this woman is doing. Oh, look at that man. We have a whole new definition of what that woman is, or of what that man is. How a woman should behave sexually, how a man should behave sexually. Men are always too macho or too wimpy, depending on who is judging. Women are always too thin or too fat. We all have these beliefs about how a woman should be in order to be beautiful. You have to buy the right clothes, create the right image, so you can be seductive and fit that image. If you don't fit that image of beauty, you grow up believing that you are not worthy, that no one will like you. We believe so many lies about sex that we don't enjoy sex. Sex is for animals. Sex is evil. We should be ashamed to have sexual feelings. These rules about sex go completely against nature, and it's just a dream. But we believe it. Your true nature comes out, and it doesn't fit with all these rules. You are guilty. You are not what you should be. You are judged. You are victimized. You punish yourself, and it's not fair. This creates wounds that become infected with emotional poison. The mind plays this game, but the body doesn't care what the mind believes. The body just feels the sexual need. At a certain time in our lives, we cannot avoid feeling sexual attraction. This is completely normal. It is not a problem at all. The body is going to feel sexual when it's excited, when it's touched, when it's visually stimulated, when it sees the possibility of sex. The body can feel sexual, and a few minutes later, stop feeling sexual. If the stimulation ends, the body stops feeling the need for sex. The mind is a whole other story. Let's say that you were married and you were raised as a Catholic. You have all those ideas about how sex should be, about what is good and bad and right and wrong about, and what is sinful about sex, what is acceptable, what's not. You need to sign a contract to make sex okay. If you don't sign the contract, sex is a sin. You have given your word to be loyal, but one day you're walking on the street and a man crosses in front of you. You feel a strong attraction. The body feels the attraction. There is no problem. It doesn't mean that you will take any action, but you cannot avoid the feeling because it's completely normal. When the stimulation is gone, the body lets go, but the mind needs to justify what the body has felt. The mind knows, and that's the problem. Your mind knows, you know. But what is it that you know? You know what you believe. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, right or wrong, correct or incorrect. You were raised to believe this is bad, and right away you make that judgment. Now, the drama and conflict begin. Later you think of that man, and just thinking of him makes your hormones go up again because of the powerful memory that's in the mind. It's as if your body is seeing him again. The body reacts because the mind thinks about it. If the mind would leave the body alone, the reaction would go away as if it never happened. But the mind remembers. It remembers it. And because you know it's not okay, you start to judge yourself. The mind says it's not okay and tries to repress what it feels. When you try to repress your mind, guess what? You think about it more. Then you see that man, and even if it's in a different situation, your body reacts more strongly this time. If the first time you had just let go of the judgment, perhaps you would see him the second time and you would have no reaction at all. Now you see the man, you have sexual feelings, and you judge these feelings, and you think, oh my God, it's not okay. I'm a terrible woman. You need to be punished. You are guilty. You are going in a downward spiral and for nothing, because it's all in the mind, because that man doesn't even notice that you exist. You start imagining the whole thing. You make assumptions, and you start to want him more. For whatever reason, you meet the man, you talk to him, and it's beautiful for you. It becomes an obsession. It's very attractive, but you are afraid. Then you make love to him, and it's the greatest thing and the worst thing at the same time. Now you really need to be punished. What kind of woman would allow her sexual desire to be greater than her own morals? Who knows what games the mind is going to replay? You hurt, but you try to deny your feelings. You try to justify your actions to avoid the emotional pain. Well, my husband is probably the same way. The attraction becomes stronger, but it's not because of your body. It's because the mind is playing a game. The fear becomes an obsession. And all that fear you have about your sexual attraction is building up. When you make love with this man, you have a great experience. but not because he is great, and not because the sex was great, but because all of the tension, all of the fear is now being released. Interesting. To build it up again, the mind plays the game. And it plays the game that, to build it up again, the mind plays the game that it's because the man, but it really isn't true. That was worded strange. The drama keeps growing, and it's nothing but a simple mental game. It's not even real. It's not love either, because this kind of relationship becomes very destructive. It's self-destructive because you are hurting yourself. And the place that hurts most is what you believe. It doesn't matter if your belief is right or wrong or good or bad. You're breaking your beliefs, which is something that we wish to do, but in the way of the spiritual warrior, not the way of the victim. Now you're going to use that experience to go deeper into hell. Not to get out of hell. Okay, your mind and your body have completely different needs, but your mind has control of your body. Your body has needs that you cannot avoid. You have to fulfill the need for food, the need for water, the need for shelter, sleep, sex. All those needs of your body are completely normal, and it's so easy to satisfy the needs of the body. The problem is the mind says, these are my needs. In the mind, we create the whole picture in this bubble of illusion, and the mind takes responsibility for everything. The mind thinks it has the need for food, for water, for shelter, for clothing, for sex, but the mind has no needs at all. No physical needs. The mind doesn't need food, doesn't need oxygen, doesn't need water, doesn't need sex at all. How do we know this is true? When your mind says, I need food, you eat, and the body is completely satisfied, but your mind still thinks it needs food. You keep eating and eating and eating, and you cannot satisfy your mind with food because the mind is not real. The mind's just an illusion. The need to cover your body is another example. Yes, your body needs to be covered because the wind is too cold and because the sun is too hot. But it's your body that has the need. And it's so easy to satisfy the need. When the need is in the mind, you can have tons of clothes and the mind still needs clothes. You open the closet and it's full of clothes, but your mind isn't satisfied. What does it say? I have nothing to wear. The mind needs another car, another vacation, a guest house for your friends. All the needs that you can never fully satisfy are all just in your mind. It's the same with sex. When the need is in the mind, you cannot satisfy the need. When the need is in the mind, the whole judgment, the whole knowledge is also there. This makes sex so difficult to deal with. The mind doesn't need sex. What the mind really needs is love, not sex. More than the mind is your soul that needs love, because your mind can survive with fear. Fear is energy also, and it's food for the mind. Not exactly the food you want, but it works. We need to give the body the freedom from the tyrant that is the mind. If we no longer have the need for food in our mind, the need for sex in our mind, everything becomes so easy. The first step is to split the needs into two categories. These are the needs of the body. These are the needs of the mind. The mind confuses the needs of the body with its own needs because the mind needs to know. What am I? We live in this world of illusion and we have no idea what we are. The mind creates all these questions. What am I? The mind says, I am the body. I am what I see. I am what I think. I am what I feel. I am hurting. I am bleeding. The affinity between the mind and the body is so close that the mind believes I am the body. The body has a need, and the mind says, I need. The mind takes everything about the body personally because it tries to understand who am I. So it is completely normal that the mind starts to gain control of the body at a certain point. And you live your life until something happens that shakes you and allows you to see what you are not. You start to become aware when you see that you are not, when your mind starts to realize that it's not the body. Your mind says, then what am I? Am I the hand? If I cut off my hand, I am still me. Then I am not the hand. You can take away what is not you until in the end, the only thing that remains is what you really are. It's a long process of the mind finding its own identity. In the process, you let go of the personal story, what makes you feel safe, until finally you understand what you really are. So take a minute and imagine the hand is gone and that's not who you are. Imagine all your other parts of your body are gone. You still exist. So what are you? Your energy, your spirit, your love. You find out that you are not what you believe you are because you never chose your beliefs. These beliefs were there when you were born. You found out that you are also not the body because you start to function without your body. You start to notice that you are not the dream, that you are not the mind. If you go deeper, you start noticing that you are not the soul either. Then, when you find out what is so incredible, you find out that what you are is a force that makes it possible for your body to live, a force that makes it possible for your whole mind to be able to dream. Without you, without this force, your body would collapse on the floor. Without you, your whole dream just dissolves into nothing. What you really are is the force that is life. If you look into the eyes of someone near you, you will see the self-awareness, the manifestation of life shining in his eyes. Life is not the body, it is not the mind, it is not the soul, it is the force. Through this force, a newborn baby becomes a child, a teenager, an adult. It reproduces, it grows old. When life leaves the body decomposes and turns to dust. You are life passing through your body, passing through your mind, and passing through your soul. Once you find that out, not with the logic, not with the intellect, but because you can feel that life, you find out that you are the force that makes the flowers open and close, that makes the hummingbird fly from flower to flower. You find out that you are in every tree, that you are in every animal, vegetable, and rock. You are the force that moves the wind and breathes through your body. The whole universe is a living being that is moved by that force, and that is what you are. At the end of the day, you are life. Okay, all right, guys, there is chapter 8 of The Mastery of Love. And, of course, the affirmation taking us into chapter 8 is all about true love, come to me. So hopefully by reading this chapter 8, we've enlightened ourselves to better understanding ourselves and the energy of love and connection and relationships, so that we're now open to receiving and attracting true love into our lives. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a beautiful night. Thanks.